The Great Barrier Reef is the world's largest reef system. This massive ecosystem is essential for the survival of over 3,000 species of mollusk, 1,600 species of fish, and 1,400 species of coral reef. Due to the industrial age of mankind, over the past 2 decades our reef is slowly decaying from the influx of carbon dioxide in the ocean. Carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere during the use of fossil fuels. This process will eventually cause sea temperatures to rise, alter salinity, intensify storm variability, and much more. Today we'll be looking into an effect of fossil fuels that is often overlooked. Carbon dioxide, when combined with water, creates carbonic acid, which deteriorates calcium carbonate in exoskeleton of coral reef, resulting in fewer species, slower growing coral, less niches for fish and invertebrates to use for camouflage, and in severe cases, complete extinction of coral. A case study was completed in 2011 to determine the ecological effects of the continued use of fossil fuels over the next 100 years, written by Katrina Fabricus, Chris Langdon, Sven Uthik, Craig Humphrey, Sam Noonan, Glenn Diath, Remy Ukazi, Nancy Molyneux, Martin Glass, and Janice Loff. The authors of this article studied 3 environments with a similar pH level to the predicted acidity of the Great Barrier Reef in 100 years' time. These locations were D'Entrecasteaux Islands, Milan Bay Province, and Papua New Guinea. Volcanic seeps are in these areas and produce massive amounts of CO2, creating the ideal pH level for the surrounding waters for the experiment. The results were shocking to say the least. For areas with a pH level between 7.8 and 8.0, there was a dramatic decrease in complex, hard, soft coral, sponge, crustose coralline algae, and red algae. The only species that thrived in the acidic conditions were seagrass and non-calcareous macroalgae, which do not provide the essential living conditions for most bottom-dwelling creatures. It was determined that a pH level of 7.7 and lower was completely inhabitable for all types of coral. Statistics here on this graph show you that specific response ratios summarizing the observed biotic changes for each species affected in the experiment. As you can see, the pH level only has to move a fraction, and it dramatically affects several attributes of coral, algae, and porites. Due to being a recently conducted long-term experiment, there have been no updates to this article over the last 3 years. Conclusively, this experiment has shown that the next 100 years, if fossil fuels are abused, emissions of carbon dioxide will eventually consume Australia's reef ecosystem until it's completely inhabitable by coral and many other important species that make up the Great Barrier Reef.